Hey guys, welcome once again to my vlog series for True Detective Season 1, Episode 3, The Locked Room. And right off from the start, this is a really good episode that improves on some things from the first two and maybe detracts a little, but it's still a solid episode. It's just a lot of fun to watch. These characters are just incredibly well written and just well acted, and just the directing, everything is so good in this show that I'm gonna constantly praise this show because I love it and it deserves the praise. um this particular episode is extremely good and really got under my skin at a particular point near the end. The ending shot of this episode is just so haunting and disturbing that I'll talk about it in a little bit. But first off, I want to talk about what this episode is particularly about. Much like the first, or the second episode, I should say, this episode focuses, well, on the case that they're working on, but also focusing on Rust and Marty as people, and delves a lot into their personal lives, especially Marty's this episode. We see that he's kind of still thinking about divorcing his wife and going with this worker, and we see how he deals with that. We see how he deals with his family life. In the last episode, I mentioned that one of his daughters is recreating basically crime scenes, and it's very kind of eerie and disturbing for him. And we see that continued on here as he has to deal with something that's kind of a little bit awkward and just definitely hard for him. And his oldest daughter is apparently at school drawing pictures of naked men and women having sex, and him and his wife, played by Michelle Monaghan, have to deal with it, figure out a way to deal with this, and it's a really good moment between a father and his daughter, and just what you would do in that situation. I feel that Marty does the best he can with that situation. He's definitely concerned about his daughter. In fact, I think that the mother is even a little bit more concerned, and that scene in particular is handled very well. I particularly love a scene in this episode where Rust has come to mow Marty's grass, and Marty comes home and he just gets so angry at him. He's like, why are you here when I'm not around? And you think it's gonna be this whole thing of, is he cheating on his wife? But Marty just doesn't like Rust mowing his own lawn. That, I think this delves into a little bit of what Marty is dealing with his masculinity. He's definitely getting a little older. He's trying to be as masculine as he can, and what's more masculine than being able to mow your own lawn? And I really like that scene. I like the conflict between these two characters that shouldn't be getting along, but they find a mutual respect for each other that I really like. As for the case this time around, not much is going on there. There's a lot of things that lead to nowhere. There's a really good scene near the opening of the show where they go to a this evangelist preacher that's out at a tent preaching, and there's some really good conversations there that Rust has, questioning the ideas of religion and how people are trying to make themselves feel so important. And that's the whole idea of religion, according to him, is to make them feel that they're more important than they actually are. I really love that scene. There's a lot of scenes that I love in this episode. I just like the focus on the characters. I mean, even though the mystery is kind of pushed to the wayside. But at the very end of this episode, they finally get a lead on something, and they're heading towards to get there. And there's this fantastic ending to this episode that I just love so far. So far of the episodes, this is the best ending. And basically what it focuses on is Rust in present day is talking, and he's talking about people dreaming of, being a good person, and he mentions about how in every dream there's always a monster at the end of it, and this plays into this idea at the end, because what we're leading up to, of course, is an incident that happened during their investigation, because Rust and Marty apparently solved this case back in 1995, but yet it's still kind of open because there are similar murders happening now. And the whole idea is like that there was these children in the woods that they found, and so we're definitely getting into that. And we can tell how much it's taken a toll on the characters in the present day. And at the very end, the final shot is this man walking in the woods, and supposedly it's the person that committed the murder at the very beginning of the show, and he's walking around in his underwear wearing a gas mask, and it's a haunting image. It just, you feel dirty when watching it, and you don't understand. You're confused. You're like, why is he wearing a gas mask? Why is he naked? And you question it, but at the same time you're like, there's no answer to this. It's just bizarre, and I love it. And the final shot is him just standing there as the picture pauses and we fade, and we're just left with this empty, dark feeling. This was a fantastic episode. It's not as tight as the first two episodes, but it's incredibly well done. It's well acted, directed. This is just great television, honestly, and I'm glad I'm being able to rewatch this, and this was a great episode, and I can't wait to watch the next one because I know what's coming, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to have a lot to say about the next episode in particular. There's one scene that I'm really looking forward to, but yep, that's really all I got to say about this episode. So, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next vlog.